Hello everyone, I'm gonna read you all this story. It is called A Lost Puff. One day, Sir Topham Hatt told the engines that there was some damaged track at Knapford Bend. All the engines on the railway listened carefully, except Paxton and Thomas, who were laughing at the antics of a dog that was waddling towards the sheds. May I remind you two in particular not to be silly, Sir Topham said sternly. You must pay attention. I don't want any accidents. A little while later, Paxton arrived at the broken track. As he rode over it, it rattled his radiator, making him laugh. That was fun, he said, grinning. When Thomas arrived at the bend, Paxton got to him. Try it too. Woohoo! Thomas said with a giggle as he bounced along. Get up some speed and go over it really fast, Paxton suggested. So Thomas raced backward around the corner and, oops, dashed right into Toby, who was filling up at the water tower. Water splashed all over and all over Thomas. It put out his firebox. Oh no! Paxton cried. Sir Topham Hatt told me not to be silly, but I was. And now there's been an accident. Paxton rolled away quickly and quietly to deliver his trucks to the shunting yards. When Toby arrived at the shunting yards, Paxton heard him to tell Stafford that Thomas had lost his puff. That sounded serious. Paxton decided that he would go and look for Thomas' lost puff. He would find it. He raced along looking all around, but he didn't really know what to look for. Then he saw a puff of steam and raced after it, but it turned out to be just Gordon, pulling the express. Next, Paxton spotted a fluffy white cloud in the sky. That must be Thomas' missing puff, he said as he hurried toward it. Paxton followed the cloud all the way to Ulfstead Castle, where he met Stephen. Hello, Paxton, Stephen said. What are you doing here? Thomas had lost his puff, and I thought that might be it, Paxton told him, looking up at the clouds. Up there! There, that's just a cloud, Stephen replied. Paxton felt rather silly. He sped away as fast as his wheels could carry him. Paxton realized he didn't know anything about a steam engine's puff because he was a diesel engine. But he knew someone who did know about steam engines, Victor, whose job it was to repair them. Paxton hurried to the steamworks to find Victor. He asked Victor if he had a spare puff for Thomas. This made Toby, who was at the steamworks for repairs, laugh. Puff. Just means steam, Toby explained to Paxton. When Thomas bumped into me, his fireworks got wet. Steamies can't make puffs when their fire goes out. Once again, Paxton felt silly, but he cheered up again when he realized that Thomas would be fine just as soon as his firebox dried out. As Paxton sped back to the water tower, he heard a cheerful beep beep, and there was Thomas puffing around the corner. "You're okay, Paxton?" said happily Thomas. "Yes, I found my lost puff." Oh, sorry, it was the other way. "You're okay," Paxton said happily. "Yes, I found my lost puff," Thomas joked. "At least I learned something today," Paxton said, smiling. "That puff just means steam," asked Thomas. "Yes," Paxton said, still smiling, "but also that when Sir Topham Hatt tells me not to be silly, I shouldn't be silly." And Thomas wholeheartedly agreed. The end. Well, it's okay to be silly because sometimes you need a little silliness just to make up your day. Whenever you feel sad or you feel bored, just be yourself. Right, Mr. Subiru? Well, yeah. Sometimes I'm always acting very silly. Even when I go and saved everyone from villains and I go flying, sometimes I act really, really silly. Um, did Thomas act silly and Paxton act silly? Yes, they did. And what did Sir Topham Hatt told them? Well, not to be silly. Yeah, that's true. You can be silly. Even when it comes to work, you cannot be silly. Or sometimes you could be a little bit silly, but not. Yep, that's true. Something people take stuff very seriously. But you just gotta be yourself. That's true. I love you, superhero. And I love you too, Mr. David. And I love you all, boys and girls. Good night. Well, that's true. You gotta be yourself. Even when Thomas didn't learn his lesson, at least he learned something new. And Paxton too. Sometimes you just gotta be yourself. It's okay, but when it comes to a job and if you're not listening, and even with schoolwork, and same thing, if you're not listening, you're just gonna get into trouble. But it is okay to be silly. Sometimes you need that silliness just to help you. I'm gonna sing a happy birthday song to everyone that were born in the month of August. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to everyone born in the month of August. Happy birthday to all of you. I love you all. Okay? I hope you all do good. Stay focused on schoolwork. Boys and girls, love you all. Stay safe. And I'm probably gonna do some more story time, okay, boys and girls? Okay? Love you. Good night, everybody. Sleep tight and don't let the dead bugs bite. Adios. Masalama.